Isn't it a beautiful day? Isn't it? Wow. Karibu sana. Welcome. Shalom. Feel free to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit notifications so that every time we go live, you see. We've been talking about promises, and something really, really big struck me. I was sitting here at my desk, just, thinking about promises and how to stand on the promise and working through the promise and knowing that, it is really what God said. And I remember the conversation I had. Actually, it was a message I had. And the message was based on Job chapter 1. This for me was big. So we introduced to Job as this guy with kids and all that, and he's blessed, he's rich, he's identified as one in his generation who God is following after. And then there came a day for the sons of God to present themselves to God, and they were there, and then darkness himself shows up, Satan shows up. And God asks him, Umetoka? Where have you come from? He says, oh, here and there, walking around the world, just kind of checking things out. And then God asks him, have you seen my son Job? Have you seen him? Have you considered my servant Job? There is none like him on the earth, a blameless and upright man, one who fears the Lord and shuns evil. Those were God's words. Shaito is like, watch a story. Does Job fear God for nothing? Haven't you hedged him in, protected him, provided for him? What does he have that makes him not fear you? So why don't let's have a bet. You stretch out your hand and strike him. Let's see if he still loves you. And God says, cool. Can you imagine? God says, cool. And in quick succession, Job loses everything. Except the wife. I always find that very funny. He lost all his 7 children. He lost all his cattle, all his donkeys, everything. They were either slaughtered, struck by lightning, kidnapped, taken, raided. I mean, he literally lost everything. And every time one servant was left, darkness is wicked. One servant was left to come back and tell him the story. Camels gone, sheep gone, donkeys gone, children gone, everything gone. So darkness himself heads back. Once again, when God and his sons are meeting, darkness shows up again. Same question. Umetoka? Where are you coming from? Oh, here and there. And again, God asks, this is now chapter 2, God asks, have you considered my servant Job? Again, there is none like him, righteous, blameless, upright, he shuns evil. And still he holds fast to his integrity, although you incited me against him to destroy him without cause. And he says, skin to skin. Yes, by all men, just stretch your hand and touch his body, touch his bone. And God says, go ahead. Go ahead. That for me was profound. God didn't say no. He said, go ahead. Has it ever struck you that the promise is so guaranteed that he knows what will break you and what won't break you? He knows that you will not leave him, or he knows that you will leave him. He knows what your response will be. And you see, from this chapter 2 all the way to chapter 38, it is Job and people around him talking foolishness. Until God comes and asks him, did you hang the stars? Did you create these things? And you dare talk like that? Because the way I understood it, was that God was so certain that Job would not trip. He was so certain that Job would not give up. He was so certain that Job knew him well enough to understand that he would not let him go and his word would not be voided. Where were you? And you? Does God know that about you so that when trouble, wahala comes your way, he knows you'll stand? God created each and every one of us with that capacity to stand, to be faithful, to be strong like Christ. Remember when Christ went to the cross and he said to the Father, if it were on me, I would ask you to take this cup. Yet I understand that my dying this way will bring all my brothers and sisters into the fold. It will open the door. It will rip the curtain. It will give access. He knew what his death was about, so he stayed true to the cause. Many times, one of the challenges we have with waiting on the promise is because there are things in us that must die. Okay? So my sense of comfort must die. My sense of entitlement must die. My sense of I am more important than others must die. The reality is I am critical to the plan of God, but I'm useless when I'm arrogant. I'm useless when I'm self-involved. I'm useless when I'm only looking at me. I'm only useful to the plan of God when my eyes are fixed on him, the author and the perfecter of my faith. When my eyes are steady, 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 I will not shift to the left or to the right, regardless of what comes. And darkness knows that. So he sends things our way. You see the way he sends stuff to Job. With God's permission, by the way. Because God had determined to preserve his life. He sends things our way which shift us, right? You are praying about something and day one is easy, day two is easy. You're praying over the life of somebody that God has said this person is pivotal to my kingdom. They must come. And year one passes, year two, and you begin to say, huyo, let me just leave him to God. Wacha nimwachie tu Mungu. That time they are on the verge. They just need your cover. But you give up. I remember reading a book that was talking about how we have too many people who pray, but we don't have enough generals. We don't have enough people who will take the word and hold on to it to the detriment of themselves. In this day and age, when you have a position on something, people come and say you're being unreasonable, you're being stuffy. Yet, when somebody of a different faith holds onto a position, it is their right. The only way I can stay true to who I am and what I know is my assignment is if I'm certain that God sent me there. So I've been thinking about it, and I actually think God boasts over many of us, and then things happen and we're like, why? And we let go of the walk. How do you wait on the promise? You know that your Father says, you know that that word was from God. And then you remember there are people who have gone before you and who have succeeded. We have Job, we have Abraham, we have Esther, we have David. And when you look at each of these people, they were human, they had faults, but God preserved the promise through them. Your promise depends on you being preserved by God. So as you wait, press in. How do you wait? You lean into God. You build your relationship with him so that it's not just what pastor says off the pulpit or what daddy says. When you go and listen to the word, let it be a confirmation of what God has already been telling you in private. That's how Abraham waited. We have stories of him going to sit with God, meditate with God. When the angels came in, it was God. Because he pressed in. Daniel pressed in every day. We wait by pressing into our Father, by hiding under his wings as he covers us as a mother hen. We wait by leaning into God. go and lean in.